It's bonus season for airline pilots, and we have a proven formula to make sure the bonus doesn't just disappear. Stay tuned, learn more.
Welcome to a Wiser Retirement Podcast, where we cut through the noise and bring you real, honest conversations about investing, retirement, and building lasting wealth. No sales pitches, no gimmicks, just everything your financial advisor won't tell you.
So I'm Casey Smith, and I'm here with Grace Kennedy, our financial planning associate here at Wiser Global Headquarters. Good morning, Miss Grace.
Good morning.
So today we're going to talk about airline pilots and how can they make the most of their upcoming bonuses.
Right.
How do we get here? How do we get the bonuses? What's interesting is Southwest actually has the oldest bonus program. They've been doing it for 50 years. And they're not getting extra money into their paychecks. It actually rolls into a profit sharing plan.
Okay.
So it benefits their future selves versus their current selves.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that the Delta plan is the standard as far as bonuses go. That's what United and American are trying to duplicate in their pilot contracts. So basically, pilots, it's a pool that's created, pool of money, but 10% of adjusted annual profits up to $2.5 billion, and then 20% of profits above $2.5 billion roll into this pool, which gets divided amongst the pilot group.
Right.
And then there's a formula for how each pilot gets that. We don't need to bore anybody with those details. But it's like in 2023, that's the last one I saw. Delta paid out about $1.4 billion in profit sharing from 2023 performance in 2024. So that's roughly 10.4% of eligible earnings. About 5 weeks worth of pay is what it calculates to be. All this got started in contract 2023 with the Delta pilots, and then from there, if we look at United's is 10% pre-tax profit up to $2.5 billion, and then above that number, the $2.5 billion number is also 20%. The pool then is based on each pilot's share of the total earnings, and it depends on your position and obviously what you made. That also got ratified in October of 2023, and then American's formula was not as good. They have modified it to match Delta's, but the problem with United and Americans is that there's just not as much profits.
Yeah.
They aren't as successful in that realm. Both those airlines carry a lot of additional unions beside just the pilots. Delta has the pilots union, and there's a dispatchers union, which is obviously pretty small. But the other airlines have a lot more unions, which, in my opinion, reduces that overall profitability.
Right.
And also, the United contract has other things in it that Delta doesn't have. Like they have a laundry allowance, and they have allowance for meals, and if you have a meal that you don't like or didn't want, I think is how that works. United people can correct me on this, but you get like a credit. You can say, this is not what I ordered. You messed this up. Then you can get it. So it's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
it's different.
Yeah. HAFA, like union stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to cut into your profitability, but they are still profitable. United is. American is getting there. They have a lot of debt that they're eliminating to make sure that they can be in the right spot. Profit sharing, again, I think I mentioned earlier at Southwest, it's the oldest profit sharing plan out there in the airline space. Herb Keller was a good thinker, and when it came to his vision for how to compensate people, they don't get paid by the hour; they get paid by the trip. Things are just very different in Southwest world. But all those profits roll into their profit sharing plan. Anything over the IRS limits, they now have a market-based cash balance plan that these can roll into. We could have a whole episode on that. American has just launched their market-based cash balance plan. United is regrouping, trying to get theirs IRS approved to be more similar to Delta's. What's interesting on American's market-based cash balance plan is they can move in and out of it. They can decide if they want to be in the program or out of the program. Delta, for new hires, you're just in.
Right.
And then there was a period a few years ago with Delta where you could opt in or opt out. So if you opt out, you can't get back in. I assume that was for administrative cost, if I had to guess.
Probably.
But Americans, you can move in or out
every 3 years or something.
Yeah, every 3 years.
Yeah.
That's right. You read all my emails.
I do.
So which airline has the best bonus plan? I mean, you'd have to say Delta does because they have the formula that everyone's matching, but they also have the profits to make some serious bonus bonus pay. They pay theirs on Valentine's Day, which isn't that sweet?
I know, that's so kind. Little love letter from the airlines.
I know, right? You think Southwest would pay theirs on Valentine's Day because they're like the love airline, you know? But
yeah,
I know, right?
Y'all should do that.
So yeah, I would probably say the order is probably Delta, United, Southwest, and then Americans.
Right.
If we were going to give trophies for
the
who has the best profit sharing plan. So here's the thing: it's like anytime you get extra dollar in your pocket, it's easy for that dollar to disappear. There's a lot of shiny objects out there. So that's why I wanted to talk to you, Grace, because I don't want our pilots to lose their dollars,
their bonus.
Yeah. So where are we? Well, maybe we should start with what should we not be doing with our bonus money? There's probably a long laundry list, but if we want to summarize that.
Yeah, we've created a short little summary list. So kind of the first one is the so-called lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation, where you're just like expecting that bonus to come every year. And so you're basically, you're expecting that to be guaranteed income when it's not. It's called profit sharing for a reason. And so things like that, people make decisions on like, oh my gosh, if I get this so-and-so payout or this bonus, I'm going to send my daughter to the out-of-state college or something. Like we can finally afford it or whatever. But that the next year to pay that tuition, that's not guaranteed.
Yeah. And
so I think it's very important for pilots to remember just to live on your guaranteed income. And then the bonus and your profit sharing can be kind of be like the bread and butter on top. And then you can do some really, really powerful things with it if you think of it like that, rather than just like expecting it every single year. So I think that's number one, what can easily happen.
I would say that picking up extra trips, the red slips, green slips, that's another thing that we see a lot is you have to do that in order to maintain your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I would say you probably need to get back down the guarantee. But remember too, if you're disabled, you're going to be living after a couple of years, you're living on 50% of your income.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that we need to live on 50% of our income necessarily, but we definitely don't need to be having to pick up extra trips in order to maintain our lifestyle.
Fund your lifestyle, right.
That can be exhausting.
What's your base and live off of that.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's honestly for everyone, but especially pilots that have a variable income. Next, that kind of, I feel like gets ignored is taxes when it comes onto the bonus plan or the bonus payout. These can easily creep you up into a higher tax bracket. And I think sometimes they forget about that. They're like, oh my gosh, let me just get the cash and go buy this luxury car that I've always wanted. And then all of a sudden you get hit with a tax bill in April that you weren't expecting. So you can't ignore that. And, it's very important to meet with, either a tax advisor or your CPA, or, we talk through a lot of this kind of stuff here at Wiser. And so just planning that out. So like, hey, I'm getting this so much come February 14th. If you're a Delta pilot, and it could potentially creep me up into that higher tax bracket.
I think that especially applies to the higher paid captains.
Yeah. Because
they're not going to withdraw. I think the standard is 25% Fed on a bonus. But if you're living in the 32 to 37% tax bracket, that's not going to be enough. So you would have a little bit of surprise come April.
Right. Yeah. So one last thing that you should not do is nothing. Don't do nothing, because, some people, I guess they can have it paid out to their paycheck. It gets into their checking account. Maybe they even move it to savings, or maybe it's just sitting and checking. And then, that's one of two things. Either you have an excess of cash building up that has no purpose, or you end up spending it without even realizing it. I feel like that happens.
20s and hundreds.
Yeah. I feel like that happens all the time. It's just sitting there. And so you're checking your bank account and you just keep swiping. All of a sudden your bonus is gone and it had no real purpose to it. So I think that's just as dangerous as the others. And I think that's very easily done. And that creeps up on you before you even realize it. And so you don't want excess cash. Like, obviously, there's an important amount of cash that you should have. The rule of thumb is 6 months of expenses. And if you have excess on that, like, put it to work. Like, you want your money working for you, not against you.
Absolutely.
So I think that's definitely something to consider.
Okay, so those are very good things not to do. So we have a kind of a formula, steps to follow
Success
of what to do with that extra dollar, or in this case, bonuses. So once you get started down that path?
Yeah, so I think number one going down that line is paying off any revolving debt. That's always, if you walk into our door, that's going to be the first thing that we tell you. If you do have substantial debt, that can be cars, credit cards, boats, or planes. We wanted to throw that in there for y'all. If you have anything that high interest, revolving, that's very important. If you're getting that lump sum, like go ahead and pay those things off, or at least pay a substantial amount off. That'll help you in so much in the future. I think interest rates, especially nowadays, if you're getting a car or credit cards, are outrageous. Those are the interest rates on those creep up on you before you even realize it.
Right.
And so I think paying off those is definitely the first and foremost thing that you should do if you're getting something and you don't have any other need for the money. Pay off your debt. I think that's very, very important. Number two would be to fund your emergency savings. If you don't have substantial savings saved up in a high yield savings account just for emergencies, like I said earlier, the rule of thumb is 6 months. Go ahead and fund that emergency fund and get that started so that you don't have to acquire any more debt. That's why most people acquire their debt, is because they don't have emergency savings, so they have to put on their credit card. And so I think that's definitely one of the most important things too. Just going down the line is to make sure that you do have a sufficient savings, and a bonus is an amazing way to super fund that at the beginning. So lastly, so these are in order, so keep that in mind. So we want to pay off debt. Even if you paid off debt and you still had a little bit left over, save that. And then after that, if you still have some left over, or if you've already done the first two, look at big purchases coming up. So are you looking to buy a car? Are you looking for home improvements? Or do you want to go on a vacation? These are things that you can pay in full with your bonus, if that's something that you're looking to do.
So build up excess cash for big purchases coming up.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If you know you're going to be buying a car in 6 months, you could probably save that up and then keep saving towards it. So then you can pay it in full. Home improvements. I feel like we're always dealing with people that are improving their home right now. No one's going to move right now. I mean, some people are, but most people are just trying to stay where they're at and improve their home.
Right.
And so start saving up for that. That's definitely a good place to be.
Before we continue, do you want to make the most of your airline's 401k plan? We've created free 401k allocation guides for most major airlines to help you do just that. Download yours for free at pilotretirement.com. Now back to the episode.
Tax deferral. So
so we've gotten all the basic financial stuff done, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So now
it's
more
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay, I want to save this for my future. I want to reduce my tax liability on this thing. How do I do that?
Right. So number one, you can look into maxing out your HSA. If that is something, if you're
HSA eligible.
Right. Yeah. If you have a high deductible plan, that's a great way to defer taxes. That's like one of the most tax advantaged accounts out there. So that's a great way. And there's obviously different limits to that.
Yes, because you can put your money in, you get a tax deduction, and then you can invest it inside the HSA. And then when you pull it out, it's tax free for medical expenses. Mm-hmm. So that could pay your healthcare premiums in the future.
Right.
In retirement.
Yeah, letting that build over time and then using that in retirement for sure. Number two, contributing pre-tax to your 401k. There's also, you can also do Roth, but number one, especially when we're talking about pilots, it would be pre-tax most likely for households, that have less than $150,000 in income.
And try to max out your portion of the 401k plan.
Right. So then you can use the most benefit of the market-based cash balance plan as well.
Yep.
That's something we talk about a lot too. But yeah, you can also do Roth if your household income's under 150. But for most pilots, just a general rule of thumb is we're gonna most likely tell you to do pre-tax. So that's a great way to go ahead and fund your side of the max contribution of the 401k. Anything left over, this is probably my favorite one. I think a brokerage account is so powerful, especially for pilots. Just anything that you have left over, after trying to do the tax savings, doing investing into a brokerage account. And what we like to call that is the opportunity fund.
Yeah. The opportunity money is very powerful, especially as it builds.
Yeah.
And if you have brokerage account and you keep adding money to it, you can do so many things in the future. In fact, I would say that if your retirement's on track with you maxing out your portion of the 401k and then the company puts in their 18%, but you're not trying to do they call race the company, where they try to put it into the after tax.
Right.
So you max out your 23,500, your 30,500, and then you try to put as much as you can into the after tax until it fills up to 70,000. And then after that, all the company money goes in the market-based cash balance plan at Delta, or you can set that up at American. United actually goes into your health savings account if you a retirement health savings account, or you can come to your paycheck. You can manipulate that. But my point is that maybe you're on track for retirement just fine without having to do all that. And I would argue it's better to put excess into a brokerage account and invest it so that when you get to retirement, you have this money you can live on. All you have is the capital gains tax, which is going to be much lower. It should be around 15% when you retire, much lower than your income tax bracket. You can live off of that money, hopefully, unless there's a military pension or some other thing going on with a spouse. You should be able to live almost tax-free for those first few years of retirement. And you can convert a massive amount of money from your IRA into your Roth.
Right.
Opportunity money doesn't always have to be used for retirement. It could also be used for opportunities. That's why we call it opportunity money. So you want to buy a second home. You want to buy that plane you've always wanted to fly. You want to maybe save up for a really big grand trip that you're taking the entire family. That's what typically opportunity money should be, something that's reinvested into something else. It's not something that's spent, but it could be anything. It's not counted toward retirement. So the big thing is just to get it out of your spending account and put it somewhere where you can hide it from yourself. Right.
For sure. I think that's one of the most important things, is putting it to work rather than just leaving it idle. Yeah.
These are great steps. I mean, it's very simple. Pay off your debt. Make sure your savings is okay. Do you have any big purchases coming up? All right, then save it for retirement. After that, then put it over into an opportunity account and let it build for something down in the future. So, not that complicated.
No.
There's a long list of things that you can choose from. I think we've hit most of them on that list. But obviously, if you're an existing client and you have questions, reach out. But I think anyone can use this formula for any bonus, no matter where they work.
For sure.
More than pilots get bonuses.
Exactly.
About a third of our client base here are all airline people.
Yeah.
That's why we do these special podcasts occasionally just for airline people. But the reality is that it applies to any bonus that you get, this order of operation.
For sure.
Okay. Let's take a break here. And this is something new we're doing, where we ask 3 questions in 3 minutes, and it's Grace's turn.
Yay.
We only gonna do it one time. So let's talk about this. It's our newest segment. Now, first question, it's the same question to everybody. What's one money mistake you're weirdly glad that you made?
Yeah, this is a tough one, but I think back in college, of course it's gonna be back in college.
Right.
Which I'm saying that like it was so long ago to make me sound better. But I applied for an Ulta credit card. Ulta is a beauty makeup store. You didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, I did not know.
Exactly. I saw your face and I was like, you know what? Let me read the room. So I do a lot of makeup. I love makeup.
Oh, that's right. You have a little side gig doing people's wedding makeup.
Right. So I applied for it. I got it back in college. I have no idea how I got it.
Right.
And I would never recommend a retail credit card to anyone. I would never tell anyone to go and get a retail credit card.
Right.
I still don't believe in them today.
Right.
However, I am kind of glad that I made that mistake and got it, because in my brain, I feel like that's helped me save some money, getting it, because it gets these rewards and stuff or with it. If you use it so many times, you get like double the points or something, and then you get something for free. Or like you get one of your purchases.
So you feel like it's
free.
worked out for you?
I feel like it's kind of worked out for me, just for my situation.
It's because you didn't carry a balance.
Right, exactly. I didn't leave it on there.
Right.
So yeah, that's something I would never recommend to anyone, but I'm not mad that I made that
Well, it's
mistake.
because if you don't pay it off, it's like 30-something%
Oh,
interest.
yeah.
It's like the highest congressional interest you can charge somebody.
And that's why most people that are, applying
store.
for those and wanting those probably shouldn't have them
Right.
because they can't afford it. I feel like a Belt credit card had like all the moms in chokehold back in like 2010. So they don't do them. But
That's fine.
I'm okay with that mistake.
If you could travel only to one place, where would you go and who would you take?
So this one may sound so random, but I would love to go back to Bangkok, Thailand, and I would take Noah.
Okay. Yeah. Noah's the future husband.
Yes, he's
April
my
2026.
Yes, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be so fun.
It's the same week as Sun and Fun. That's how I know.
Ouch. Well, good. I'm glad. Glad at least you can remember my date. Not everyone knows the day of my wedding because they all know the day of Sun and Fun.
Right. All right. Number 3. What's something you believe strongly that you believed strongly 10 years ago that you don't believe anymore?
Yeah. So 10 years ago, I was 14.
Okay. All right.
Can't say Santa because that's weird. And that's not true.
Right. I know you didn't believe in Santa Claus. You're the third child, so the third child.
I know they ruined it for me.
I know the
two
third
older
child
siblings
loses Santa a lot faster than
right.
the others.
Right. No. So 10 years ago, there was this big debate on the internet. There was this picture going around of a dress.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
There was this picture of this dress, and everyone either thought it was black and blue or gold and white.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Okay.
And so first of all, the dress was black and blue.
Okay.
You may not know that because you are colorblind, but it was black and blue. But
Right.
I strongly believed back then that people were really seeing white and gold, where they weren't really seeing white and gold. I swear that it was just like a contrast thing.
Yeah.
The exposure was just higher.
Mm-hmm.
The retailer confirmed. I was really in this when I was 14,
Okay,
I was very
yes.
passionate about
Right.
it. But the retailer had said that it's a black and blue dress. It's, by the way, it's black and blue.
Right.
But I think people were seeing it in different lights, or they were taking the photo and editing it and doing the exposure more. And so it does look white and gold. But I always believed that people were really seeing it white and gold. I think it's still a huge debate, actually. I think people would still claim that they see white and gold.
So what is it you don't believe anymore?
I don't believe that people actually see white and gold.
Oh, on that dress.
I think they were lying. Yes, for attention.
Oh, so don't believe everything.
I mean, you're
you see
in
on the
middle
internet.
school,
Is that
and
what
they're
you're
like,
saying?
"Oh my gosh, yes, it's white and gold." I'm like, guys, it's black and blue.
White. Oh, black and blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I believe that it was a scientific thing where our eyes would see differently, and I just don't think that's true anymore.
You think it was just a
Hoax.
internet hoax? There's a lot of internet hoax. I see a lot of fake news in my feed.
But that one took over the internet.
Yeah, I did. I do remember that
for a
actually.
while.
If I remember that, yeah, that's
Yeah, if you know the dress, then yes.
Yeah, I don't remember the dress, but I remember the whole thing. Right. It was like a fleeting moment for me. It was like
just 5 seconds.
Two
was it
minutes.
middle school or that was my life? Okay. Debating people.
That's funny. All right. Thank you, Grace. That's good. So let's wrap up here. Again, 3 takeaways. Manage your profit sharing well in 2026. Don't treat it like a wealth tool. Do treat it like a wealth tool. Don't treat it like it's your salary. And use it to get your financial house in order. I don't mean that in a negative way necessarily, but in a positive way. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in learning more about Wiser Wealth Management or want to schedule a consultation, meet with one of our fiduciary financial advisors, you can do so by going to wiserinvestor.com, or you can click on the link in the episode notes. We'll see you guys again next week. This is fun. Thanks, Grace.
Thanks for listening to a Wiser Retirement podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you don't miss any new episodes. We'd also appreciate if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about anything that was discussed today, head to wiserinvestor.com and reach out. This podcast is strictly for informational purposes only and is not to be considered as investment advice or solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or any other investment vehicles, or a basis to make any financial decisions. Wiser Wealth Management Incorporated is a registered investor advisor with the SEC. The host and/or guests may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles mentioned on this podcast. Neither the host nor guests of the show are compensated for their participation, and no referral fees are paid to or received by any host or guest for clients, listeners, or similar interests. Investments involve risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and/or legal professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.